Building confidence is one thing Ryan Day and the other coaches on Ohio State's football team want to do as they get deeper into the college football season. And there are many reasons why the football fans of the Buckeyes should be confident about their team at this point in the season.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Buckeye fans? Welcome back to another episode of Locked On Buckeyes for the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, also the host of the Jay Stevens Podcast. It is Thursday, November 17th in the year 2022, and I want to thank you for making Locked On Buckeyes your first listen or first watch of every single day. On today's episode, we will discuss key contributors for Ohio State's football team if they want to accomplish their first goal next weekend. And also, we will go over one of the fabulous freshmen on Ohio State's basketball team. But before we get to any of that, building confidence is one thing Ryan Day wants to do at this point in the season. And by one thing he recently did might show that Ohio State will be better prepared and conditioned and more confident going into the final games of the regular season. Maryland this weekend in a couple days. The team up north next weekend. You win both of those games. You're playing in the Big Ten Conference Championship game. Those are games Ohio State believes they will win. They have to. They need to win them. They can win them. But you need to also be confident about your team going forward. And with the way the season has gone this year, and with the way the season went literally a year ago, many fans are sitting here wondering or even thinking, hey, man, I'm confident in this team. They've shown me enough. They're not perfect, but they've shown me enough. They have provided enough data for us to realize we as fans, should be confident about the team going forward. There are some of you that believe the Buckeyes will roll over Maryland in a couple days. Then the game against the team up north might be a loss because of some things you have seen from this football team post-bye week. These are all reality. But as we get deeper into this month and we get closer and better at analyzing the football, we should be confident. I believe Ryan Day is not showing his cards in the way that you think he is going to for the game against a team up north. I really am starting to think that this could very well be a game where we see some things from Ohio State that they have not done all year because they know if they don't win this game, sorry, a lot of your hopes and dreams and a lot of your goals go out the window if you don't win this game in a couple weeks. But you'll have to win on Saturday. And I believe on Saturday coming up, you're going to see some players that step up in big ways that maybe you have not seen step up yet, or maybe you haven't seen them play that position yet for Ohio State. Hence, I'm going to talk about one person specifically in the very next segment. And so you want to know, can I trust them? Ryan Day is a really good play caller. Some of his play calling has been iffy and questionable, but I am starting to believe that Ryan Day is literally practicing in the middle of the games to do certain things because those things might come up against the team up north. That might happen against Maryland. But with the way Stroud is playing, with the way this defense is building confidence, yes, there are some things that trip them up every now and then, but they are building confidence. Some of the backups are getting some time on the field, and they're building confidence as well. The offensive line, who was a lot stronger than it was even prior to the game against Indiana because of one player, number 70, Josh Fryer, specifically, that we know he can play right tackle. But he can play all the positions on the offensive line as well if he needs to be a guy to fill in if somebody goes down due to injury. And so this team, they're a better team. They're a stronger team. They're a more conditioned team. The offense is better. The running game is improving. Stroud is hitting Harrison Jr. The other receivers will step up when they need to. Trust me, they're going to step up. Julian Fleming, Emeka Egbuka, you might get Henderson and Williams on the field at the same time. In Jigba, will he come back? That's to be determined, but there's a belief by some that he might step on the field this weekend with the pitch count, and that will allow him to build more confidence if it happens, and also it will allow the fans saying, oh, he's not going in and being pulled due to injury. He's not going in and being timid on the football field. He's going in, doing things right, being confident. His body is healthy. And this is all brewing and building up to the game Thanksgiving weekend. But you need to be confident going into that game. I have played numerous games, basketball, football, soccer back in the day. Baseball was not my sport, but I played that as well. I also threw shot put and discus. And I mentioned that specifically because that was easily the worst thing. Well, baseball was pretty bad at baseball. But I was not really good compared to the other guys that were on the shot put and discus team my freshman and sophomore year at Lawrence Central High School. I was not one of the better guys. I was very consistently bad, but a lot of it was my confidence wasn't there. And so when I knew I felt better, I was more flexible, more limber. I was able to do things in that ring at a freer rate than normal. My confidence was not there. And when you lack confidence, bad things might happen when you're out there in whatever sport or field you are in at that particular time. And Ohio State needs to be confident. Ohio State football fans, I believe you're confident in the special team guys in Noah Ruggles, the kicker, and Jesse Merkel, the punter. I believe you're confident in Harrison Jr., the offensive line, Cade Stover, CJ Stroud. I believe you're confident in those guys. I believe you're confident in guys like Jalen Tuamaloau and Zach Sawyer. You're building confidence more in Zach Sawyer. Zach Harrison, you're confident in. Mike Hall, when he's in there, you're confident in him. Eichenberg and Chambers consistently get the job done. Ronnie Hickman, I don't think I've heard a coach say a bad thing about Ronnie Hickman all year long as far as something he did wrong on the football field. Tanner McAllister, you have confidence in all of these guys, and building confidence at this point in time and even practicing outside in the snow, something you didn't do a year ago at this point in the season, is better conditioning you for the rest of the year and helping you build confidence. Because there's a good chance either Saturday against Maryland or the following Saturday against a team up north, you're going to be playing against some inclement, bad, snowy weather. If it happens, you're better conditioned and more confident as a football team and fan base going into both of those games if there's white stuff coming from the sky. Building confidence is great, but also with building confidence, there are going to be some guys that will be key contributors down the final stretch of the season that will help the team be more confident when they step on the football field. Who are those players? Stick around to find out. This is Locked on Buckeyes. This episode of Locked on Buckeyes is brought to you by Nugenix. Feeling like you just can't get in shape? It's not your fault. As men age, our body naturally loses free testosterone, the man hormone. It happens to every man and can make it more difficult to stay in shape and be energetic. Want more energy to counter the negative physical effects of aging? Nugenix Total T Testosterone Booster with Testofen will help you turn back the clock, re-energize your workouts, get you better results at the gym, and help you look and feel like the man you really want to be. Nugenix Total T contains man-boosting key ingredients like testosterone. It has been validated in 5 clinical studies shown to boost free testosterone levels in men. Because Nugenix Total T boosts free testosterone that the aging process robs, you'll feel stronger, leaner, with more energy and drive. While every product professes quality, many of the products use generic ingredients that are often far less than clinical grade. Nugenix Total T is the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Now, get a complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T when you text COLLEGE to 231231. Text now, and you will get a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, their most popular fat incinerator ever, with key ingredients to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text COLLEGE to 231231. Text COLLEGE to 231231. Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply. Thanks for making Locked on Buckeyes your first listen today. For your next listen, check out the Locked on Sports Today podcast. Check up on the biggest stories of the day in sports, plus get instant reactions, big game recaps, and the take of the day. Locked On Sports Today, available on the Odyssey app, YouTube, and wherever you get your fine podcast. The name of the game when building confidence is to also add pieces to the pie, players that help you be more confident at this point in the season. Some of the guys I want to mention we have seen play previously this year. Some of them may have struggled. Some we may not have seen play on a particular side of the ball. And so you might be saying, Jay, why? You'll see very, very soon. Well, I think these players will be key contributors for Ohio State over the next couple weeks. The first one was the starting right tackle at Ohio State a week ago in Josh Fryer. Now, we have seen Josh Fryer play more of that backup tight end, heavy set offensive line when Ohio State brings in a sixth offensive lineman, but Josh Fryer is disguised in an eligible receiver number, but he is a lot heftier than your normal eligible receivers in number 41. And so Josh Fryer's been on the field a lot, but one question a lot of people had, even throughout most of the season, prior to the start of the season, and at this point of the season, a lot of people wondered if an offensive line goes down, who's the backup? Who's there? Now, this is not something that we thought about 20 years ago. Really, injuries and the way people treat players has changed, and this is a question some people have. I remember when I was a kid, you never thought about the backup. You never once thought the backup, who was it? Was the depth a problem? You never thought about that because you honestly believed going throughout the season, you're going to have a healthy bill of health and nothing was going to be a problem. Now, there would be some hiccups along the way, but you really didn't think about the depth going into the season. However, that's the way things are in 2022. But Josh Fryer is a key piece of this because Josh Fryer at right tackle, if DeJuan Jones goes down, or maybe even if Paris Johnson Jr. goes down with an injury, I hope neither one of them happens. You have Josh Fryer who can step up, and that right side of the O-line last week was not a problem, baby. They got things done. They opened up holes. They moved people. Matt Jones, Josh Fryer, the law firm of Jones and Fryer were just doing what they needed to do to move the ball. When the ball was called, it was going to be ran right behind them. They were great. I do think Josh Fryer could be somebody used in a trick play against the team up north in goal-to-goal situations, more so 5 yards and in goal-to-goal situations in 2 weeks from now. Josh Fryer is a guy. I don't know how his hands are, but it surely could happen. Or you can see DeJuan Jones, who played actually both Josh Fryer and DeJuan Jones, I believe, played basketball in high school. But you can see either one of them be somebody that gets a trick play against a team up north. Josh Fryer is somebody I'm looking at specifically. Somebody else on offense. He has not played offense at all this year for the Buckeyes, but I do believe with the running back health and with his experience at his former stop, I didn't hit him enough previously when I was discussing the running back health and depth. Someone mentioned a YouTube comment about that. I'm going to say publicly, I did not talk about him enough, but Chip Trayanum, if called upon, could be somebody. This is not a goal-to-goal situation, but he could be somebody that the Buckeyes use in different areas, more so possibly some short yardage since he has beefed up a little bit. He has some more weight on his frame since moving from running back at Arizona State to linebacker when he transferred to Ohio State this year. He could be someone that helps Henderson and Williams stay healthier throughout this final stretch of the year, and he could be a piece of the pie and a wrinkle that nobody sees coming. Do you imagine linebackers coming in and trying to tackle somebody the same size as them, that has the same muscle mass as them, and is as fast as them and as forceful as them? That's not what they expect, but it might happen if Chip Trayanum, it was now in the running back room, is utilized as a running back here for the Buckeyes over the next couple weeks. Another reason why the Buckeyes should be confident is because they have a guy who would start at his former stop at running back, came to Ohio State, is now at running back right now in the running back room, and he could be somebody we see over the next few weeks be someone that's a big piece of the pie. Two more on defense. Now, you may say, Jay, these guys aren't really, a lot of them aren't starters. There's a reason why I'm picking these guys, and that's why people should be more confident. Mike Hall Now, Mike Hall's dealt with some injuries that have not been publicized. I know Ohio State coaches. I was wondering if he was just not picking up stuff during the week, because I know sometimes if you don't pick things up, you ultimately might not play a lot on Saturdays. But Mike Hall's been on a pitch count a lot this year. Really confusing at times. Really, when you look at a guy who when he's out there, he just wrecks things, man. I mean, he's just a game wrecker. He is just a guy that you want in your corner, that you want doing all the good, amazing things on the football field. He gets them done, but he just went on a pitch count. But something tells me, not just this week, but also next week, Mike Hall and beyond that, Mike Hall might fight his way into the starting lineup. Mike Hall might have the reins and the pitch count taken away. Mike Hall Jr. might be somebody that once he's out there, he is doing everything right. And he is doing all the things in the backfield. TFL, sacks, quarterback hurries, quarterback hits, all the things behind the line of scrimmage to disrupt things prior to the ball crossing the line of scrimmage. That's Mike Hall for you. And something tells me, as we saw Jack Sawyer make some big hits and some big plays this past week against Indiana, we have seen Jalen Tuamaloau and Zach Harrison play phenomenal football really all year, but more of late, post-bye week. I think Mike Hall's best football is going to be played over the next few weeks, and I think he might find his way to get more snaps, maybe even find his way into the starting lineup. It's really interesting I bring that up because during Fox broadcast, they ended up saying Mike Hall was going to be in the starting lineup, which makes me wonder what these coaches are telling these broadcasters. That in the opening graphics, it says Mike Hall, but Mike Hall on first down when the Buckeyes are on the defensive side of the ball for the very first time, Mike Hall's not out there. So I don't know where they're getting their info, but it's really interesting how when Mike Hall's in your starting lineup on the graphic, he's not on the starting lineup on the field. Give these guys proper information. It's not an issue to say Mike Hall's not starting. He's the best D tackle we got, but he's just not starting. It's not a problem to say that. Just go ahead and be honest. We all have seen the film. He ain't started in quite a long time. Last but not least, Denzel Burke. I think Denzel Burke, after the sophomore slump and start of the season he had, I believe Denzel Burke is going to make some big plays against Maryland and against the team up north. Cam Brown's getting more confident. Indiana picked on him a little bit, but then he started to break up some balls. Seems like Jordan Hancock and J.K. Johnson, they're back. We know why they're backups, but sometimes people are scoring when they're on the field. Not a lot, but they're scoring when they're on the field. I think when you get back to Denzel Burke and Cam Brown controlling and roaming the outside, Denzel Burke is going to be a big piece of the pie, and Ohio State fans will love and see the Denzel Burke we saw a year ago. I think he will emerge over the next few weeks, and throughout the rest of the season. The Buckeyes football team is undefeated. In Holtman's boys on the basketball courts, they are as well. On the basketball team, they just got done beating Eastern Illinois by 22 points. And there was one of the fabulous freshmen that shined once again. Who was it? Stick around right here to find out. This is Locked on Buckeyes. This episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline.net is your number one source for sports betting info, stats, news, and analysis. Get the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there, from football to basketball to soccer and esports. We've got it all at BetOnline.net. And if you love sports podcasts, you can find those at BetOnline as well. We're always the fastest and easiest way to get your betting fix. Head to betonline.net today on your computer or mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. BetOnline, where the game starts. This episode is brought to you by Billiards Plus. Billiards Plus has the best selection of pool tables, game tables, shuffleboard tables, and more. And the best service in Central Ohio. Billiards Plus also can set you up with a brand new top-of-the-line grill that will last 4 generations. We all know how hard it is with the supply chain issues this year and getting certain things shipped on time. So when it comes to ordering that one big gift for Christmas, check out Billiards Plus and get there early this year. Pick something out and get it shipped in time for Christmas. It is a gift the whole family will enjoy year-round. Billiards Plus carries the best pool tables from Brunswick, Olhausen, Canada, Billiards, and more. Plus, top-of-the-line grills from PK, Napoleon, Memphis, and Le Griddle. That will be the last grill you own. Seriously, these grills stand the test of time. No matter the season, Billiards Plus has you covered for all your indoor and outdoor entertainment needs. Visit their showroom on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin. Once again, visit their showroom on Dublin Center Drive in Dublin. Check them out at billiards-plus.com. Billiards Plus, family owned and operated for generations. So as I begin to watch, and we all begin to watch Ohio State's basketball game on Tuesday evening against Eastern Illinois, their last game, not just home game, but last game in general, before heading to Maui for the Maui Invitational next Tuesday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Buckeyes get off to a slow start. Actually, both teams get off to an astronomically and abnormal slow start. At the first media timeout at the under 16 mark, the score was 4-0. Buckeyes win. Buckeyes were up, They did win the game, but the Buckeyes were up 4-0. And I'm sitting there scratching my head, wondering what is going on. I mean, we saw just recently, last Thursday, the Buckeyes were scoring in the paint at will. They were doing phenomenal things. Zed Key was great down low. This game was a little bit different. Eastern Illinois was not allowing Ohio State to get into the paint, to get the easier baskets down low. And Ohio State, they got some okay shots, but the shots weren't falling, and they were falling. They were relying on the three. Sean McNeil wasn't hitting them. Tanner Holden came in. He wasn't hitting them. Zed Key did hit a three. He had the first 4 points. One of them was a three. He went 1 for 2 from the free throw line. The 4-0 start was there. And then we get a 14-0 run shortly after that from Ohio State, where Bryce Sensabaugh comes in off the bench, and then Tanner Holden off the bench as well. Sensabaugh, a freshman, Holden, a transfer from Wright State. And both those guys were the only contributors in the Buckeyes' 14-0 run. The next thing you know, shortly after that, Eastern Illinois goes on their own 15-2 run. The first half was an interesting watch, but also at the end of the first half, the score was 26-20 Ohio State. And I'm wondering, who's going to step up? Who's going to make a big mark? Who is going to be a player that, when called upon, the Buckeyes can rely on him? Well, Bryce Sensabaugh had already done phenomenal things in the game. In the first half, he had 13 points to lead all scorers, the only double-digit scorer in the first half. And Bryce Sensabaugh in the first half and throughout the game, he is showing his feel on the basketball court, his feel for the game, his ability to score in different areas, from hitting a three-point shot to having an old man at the YMCA blow post game. He's done the past couple of games that I've seen where he gets you in, feels you, spins baseline, 2 points off the glass, on the block, generally the right block when Ohio State has the basketball, going back to the other end. But this game as well yesterday now, against Eastern Illinois, He had a pump fake at the three-point line. I believe it was one dribble. Could have been two, but no more than two dribbles. Drives to the paint, yam that thing home. And I'm like, hey, Bryce, you're my kind of guy. And with this fabulous freshman class that Chris Holtman has put together, with Bruce Thornton, who is a starter for Ohio State, played 23 minutes, had 5 points and 7 rebounds for the Buckeyes. You also have Roddy Gale Jr., who added in 8 points, 2 rebounds, and 3 assists off the bench. Bryce Sensabaugh off the bench with 20 points. And then you had Felix Akpara, 4 points, hit both of his field goals, 3 rebounds, and I believe he had at least one nice block in the latter part of the game. Bryce Sensabaugh might be the one outshining all the freshmen so far with this game. Bryce Sensabaugh and the Buckeyes' 22-point win over Eastern Illinois. Sensabaugh had his season high, actually career high, in 20 points. I don't know how long Chris Holden could keep Sensabaugh off the court, off the starting lineup. Because I don't know. I know you want to start Sean McNeil and Bruce Thornton. Something tells me one of those two guys will go to the bench, and in comes Bryce Sensabaugh. You want to have a spark plug off the bench, but you also want constant scoring with the starting lineup. Justice Sewing is going to be fine. Zedke added another double-double. He's had a double-double in every game this year. He finishes this game 10 points, 14 rebounds. Like I said, he hit a three. He shot 3 threes in the game. He made one, the first 3 that he shot. Bryce Sensabaugh might be a piece of the pie where he needs to be in the starting lineup. And I don't know if he's going to be a one and done like Malachi Branham a year ago. I am not that guy to predict that. But one thing I will say is this. Buckeye basketball recruiting keeps getting better. I have had no problem sharing my displeasure and uneasy feeling that I had about Chris Holtmann and the way he's done things with this basketball team, with the adjustments and the development. Defense is also something that people have questioned about the basketball team at Ohio State. And ultimately, the basketball team defense was a big reason why they won by 22 points. They held Eastern Illinois to 8 of 32 shooting in both halves of basketball. 25% shooting from the field. It's going to be hard for anybody to win a game when you are doing that. Holtmann's boys look good. Has some things to work on. Starters got to score more. Can't have another slow start. But ultimately, you win by 22 points. You are 3-0, and you've undefeated to start the Maui Invitational. Great start for Ohio State's basketball team. They are undefeated, just like Ryan Day's boys on the football field. It's a great time to be a Buckeye. It's also a great time to wrap up this show. Guys, it's a fun time. Love this. Love the show. Looking to have a Maryland preview of the game coming up tomorrow. Had to push back the recording due to some scheduling conflict, but looking to have that come out tomorrow, leading into this weekend's game between the Buckeyes and the Maryland Terrapins. You can follow me on Twitter at jstevens07. You can send all of your emails to jstevens317@gmail.com. Thanks for making Locked On Buckeyes your first listen today. For your second listen, check out Locked On Sports Today. From the games that matter the most to the biggest stories in sports, go beyond the scoreboard and behind the scenes with local experts and insights only Locked On can provide. Locked On Sports Today, available on this app, YouTube, and wherever you get your fine podcast.